Espresso, Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Short and sweet, Sabrina.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sabrina Carpenter.
She saved herself by knowing branding.
That's Sabrina Carpenter's song.
First things first, we have to bust the myth that it was short and sweet that made Sabrina Carpenter blow up. Sabrina Carpenter had a very good build-up album, Emails I Can't Send. I don't really listen to Western artists, so I did have to do some research for this video, but Emails I Can't Send had 2 genius songs.
Okay, recorded video, recorded all original video. All right, there's some very silly stuff going on right now. Some very silly stuff all around this one album cover that just came out from Sabrina Carpenter. She's announced that she's going to be releasing a new album pretty recently from her last one, and this was going to be the cover.
June 2014, when Sabrina was on Girl Meets World as a sarcastic and at times emotionally unavailable character, Maya Hart. By 2014, I had completely moved on from Disney and I was now in my ABC family period, which I feel is a rite of passage for TV show watching in the early 2010s.
I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time when everyone hated Sabrina Carpenter.
Funny story of how it came to be.
And while I was tuned in every single week for Pretty Little Liars, the show that really spoke to me was Make It or Break It. With me being a competitive cheerleader at the time, the things that happened in that show was a little too personal because I knew I lived that event not even 10 days ago.
This one scares me. I don't know why this card's scary. Should I be scared?
Or at least all the teenage girls did. Sabrina didn't just save her brand with short and sweet, she built herself up from being the hated and misunderstood girl to being the pop icon of the year.
Usual amount of insane controversy that I personally wouldn't expect at all, especially from the people who are angry about it. Because usually in the past, Sabrina Carpenter has caught herself in some controversy just at like her performances or her concerts and shows. What about this one, I believe is the tagline.
So because of that, I never really watched Girl Meets World when it was on air, and my only experiences with it are concerning clips from the internet I saw like this.
And you know, you had a lot of more conservative people angry about this, saying that she came from Disney, now she's doing like a Miley Cyrus kind of thing, she's endangering the kids. But overall, I just feel like none of these concerns or critiques hold any water, because she's an adult. She's like 25 years old, she's her own person. Even if she happens to have fans who are kids in her fan base.
Had 2 genius songs, all because I liked a boy, and Nonsense. Because I Liked a Boy was her redemption song. It eliminated any haters she had left over from the Joshua Bassett drama.
All because I liked a boy.
Sabrina Carpenter isn't just dropping music anymore, she's rewriting her entire image. From Disney sweetheart to pop provocateur, her newest era is bold, unapologetic, and turning heads for all the right and wrong reasons. And the moment that sealed this transformation, the Man's Best Friend album cover. Sabrina's latest visuals show her on all fours, styled to mimic the phrase, man's best friend. It's edgy, deliberate, and yes, wildly controversial. Some saw it as empowerment, others called it a misstep. But one thing's clear, this isn't the same Sabrina we knew even 6 months ago. The timing? Impeccable. Just days earlier, she released Manchild, a biting anthem taking aim at emotionally immature partners. Critics called it clever, catchy, and the kind of pop power move that earns Grammys. So fans expected her next drop to follow that same energy, but instead, she gave us this. A visual so provocative it split the internet in 2. Some fans rushed to defend it, saying it's obviously satire, a commentary on how women are objectified. Others, not so sure. Feminists, parents, and even longtime supporters said it felt confusing.
Nonsense, on the other hand, was the hit song of the album. This was her second step of many to achieving her incredible popularity.
Especially in today's climate. And when Rolling Stone released Arena cover at the same time, the conversation exploded. Now, the question isn't just what is Sabrina doing, it's why. Is she trolling the system, reclaiming power, or simply trying to stay unpredictable in an industry that eats its pop stars alive? In this video, we're diving into the rebrand that's got everyone talking. From the visuals to the backlash, the deeper message behind the controversy, and what Sabrina herself has to say about all of it. Because whether you love this era or not, she's not turning back. The moment Sabrina posted the man's best friend album cover, it felt like the internet stopped breathing. No caption explaining the imagery, no teaser trailer, just one photo. Sabrina kneeling on all fours, styled with a high-gloss, doll-like finish, and the album's title looming above her like a label, Man's Best Friend. Alongside it, a second graphic of a dog collar. That's it. Cue the chaos. In less than 24 hours, the post was everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. Some called it daring, even brilliant.
Nonsense, it was catchy, it had a memorable ending, and it made Sabrina someone in the music industry.
But a louder wave called it disappointing. Comments ranged from girls stand up to why are we doing 1950s submissive imagery in 2025? Some even said it looked like rage bait, controversy created purely to go viral. And if that was the goal, mission accomplished. The backlash wasn't just from random trolls either. Fans who supported Manchild and the feminist energy it brought were confused. How did we go from calling men out to crawling on the floor? One fan summed it up. It's giving satire, but not clever enough to land. Others weren't buying the irony defense at all. They saw the visuals as tone-deaf and ill-timed, especially in an environment where women are already under a microscope.
This song gave her solid ground as a name.
Like do a certain thing or like reach a certain thing, then I'll like go to celebrate.
With the deluxe, we get Feather, which is her next hit song that pushes her even further. It solidifies her ground even more.
And with a fan base that includes younger teens, some questioned the responsibility behind releasing such a provocative image without context. Even neutral observers couldn't ignore the fact Sabrina knew exactly what she was doing. She didn't just release a song, she dropped a conversation bomb and waited for the explosion. But while social media was melting down, Sabrina stayed quiet. No clarification, no statement, just silence, until Rolling Stone came in with a jaw-dropping twist. And what happened next? Only fueled the fire. Just as the internet was still arguing over whether Sabrina's album cover was art, irony, or a total miss, Rolling Stone dropped the mic. Their new cover, Sabrina Carpenter, posed with soft glam and lace stockings. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't quiet, and it wasn't backing down from the message people were already heated over. This wasn't damage control, it was confirmation. Inside the magazine, Sabrina finally opened up.
But despite her hits, she was stuck in this box of having to make a hit song in order to be relevant. She was missing a strong and consistent brand. Before we get into short and sweet, we gotta remind ourselves of what a brand is.
Not with a defensive rant, but with sharp, self-aware insight into how she operates. She admitted that sarcasm isn't just her coping mechanism, it's her weapon of choice. Whether in music, interviews, or even her relationships, she uses humor as a way to speak the truth without sounding harsh. Or in her words, it's the way I talk to my friends, my family, even my lovers. She explained that Man's Best Friend wasn't even supposed to happen. She hadn't planned a new album so soon after Short and Sweet, but inspiration struck, and she ran with it. Compared to previous projects where she admits she banged her head to make things work, this one, it came effortlessly. Almost like it was meant to be messy, bold, and loud. But here's where things got real. Sabrina called out the double standard. She said women, especially in pop, are constantly picked apart no matter what they do. Get too sexy, you're trying too hard. Stay safe, you're boring. Be sarcastic, now you're confusing. In her words, I truly feel like I've never lived in a time where female artists are being scrutinized more. And when asked about the visual direction,
a brand is your identity. Your unique identity that makes you stand out next to your competitors. It's like a bunch of little things that define you. People might not actively think it, but subconsciously it's what they associate you with. I feel like you can tell that Sabrina really locked in for her branding for Short and Sweet. She gave herself a name with emails I can't send, but now she needed to become the pop icon.
She didn't flinch. She knows it's not for everyone. She even joked about how people cherry-pick the spicy parts of her shows, ignoring the ballads and vulnerability that make up the rest. This isn't a stunt, it's a statement. But as fans would soon learn, Sabrina wasn't just critiquing the culture, she was turning the mirror on it. The feminist reaction? Split right down the middle. Some were quick to defend Sabrina, saying the imagery is clearly a play on how women have been historically objectified, like she's putting herself in the frame on purpose to reclaim control. According to that camp, it's satire, it's smart, it's commentary, not compliance, but others weren't buying it. For many, the image didn't read like a critique. It looked like surrender, like playing into the same tired tropes of submission and male approval that feminism has fought to break away from. Sure, it's ironic, one viral TikTok said, but does that make it effective? Even self-identified feminist creators found themselves torn. One woman, who openly supports female autonomy and expression, still admitted something about the image didn't sit right. "We fought for liberation," she said, "but is this the version we meant?" And the timing made it worse. In today's social and political climate, where women are already navigating pressure, judgment, and polarization,
The first thing she did was make herself a signature color.
Oh, everyone says this, whatever.
We can see this with her single and her album covers, her MV backgrounds, her MV props, and her outfits. It's subtle at times, but it's present enough to build in that subconscious association. Even in this scene from Please 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 where her partner is getting arrested, you don't outwardly go, "Oh, that's blue."
this kind of imagery felt like a gut punch to some. Critics argued that even if the cover was meant to provoke a deeper conversation, it wasn't the right time or the right message. Meanwhile, supporters clapped back, calling out what they saw as hypocrisy. "We preach freedom, then attack women who use it," one fan wrote. "You can't call it empowerment only when it looks a certain way." The debate grew louder, messier, and more personal, not just about Sabrina, but about what female empowerment is supposed to look like. Is it a polished, traditional role model, or is it a woman unafraid to push boundaries and make people uncomfortable? The answer depends on who you ask. But while the arguments raged online, another group was about to weigh in, and they weren't talking feminism. They were talking responsibility, because Sabrina's audience isn't just adults, it includes kids. While fans and feminists were clashing online, another wave of criticism rolled in, this time from parents, teachers, and family-focused media. For them, the issue wasn't just about symbolism or satire. It was about the audience. Sabrina Carpenter isn't just a pop star, she's a former Disney Channel icon. A huge chunk of her following includes young girls and teens who grew up watching her, singing her early songs, and idolizing her on screen. So when she released an album cover that looked, to some, like something out of an edgy magazine spread, it hit a nerve.
But subconsciously, your brain picks up on the blue light in the room, Sabrina's denim jacket, the blue lockers, and the older woman's blue jewelry. Colors are one of the most important parts of are you okay? are one of the most important parts of a brand because they can make you so much more memorable and recognizable.
Commentators on morning shows and parenting blogs didn't hold back. "How do you explain this to a 12-year-old who just bought her tour merch?" one article asked. Others called the image confusing, inappropriate, and a branding mismatch for an artist with a teen-heavy fan base. On social media, frustrated parents echoed the sentiment. "My daughter listens to her on repeat. How am I supposed to explain this cover art?" one mom tweeted. Even longtime supporters admitted they felt caught off guard. "I love Sabrina's music," one fan wrote, "but this visual just isn't it. She can be edgy without being controversial." But Sabrina's team has stayed silent on the subject. No disclaimers, no filters, no age-specific messaging. And that, for some, felt like the biggest issue of all. Not the art itself, but the lack of context. Still, defenders pushed back hard. "She's not your babysitter," one fan argued. "If you're mad she's no longer a role model, maybe that's the point. She's growing up, and so is her music." The media panic spotlighted a bigger truth about pop stardom today. You can't control who listens to your music, but you can control how far you're willing to go to be heard. And in Sabrina's case, the answer was clear. Far enough to cause a stir, and bold enough not to apologize for it. But the real question now, was it worth it? As the firestorm grew, culture critics started weighing in, and things got even messier. To some, Sabrina's album rollout was misunderstood genius. They pointed to the contrast between Manchild and Man's best friend as intentional irony, a clever setup for what's clearly a feminist takedown in disguise. The album title itself, they argued, was a double entendre. The leash imagery, a metaphor, the performance, a wink,
The outfits that she adds are her bedazzled bodysuits. It is the most iconic outfit of her tour, and Sabrina actually wears a different one for each of her stops. It works with her suggestive and playful persona, which we will actually get into later.
But others weren't buying the artsy explanation. Writers at pop culture blogs like Betches and Glamour criticized the execution, saying the satire lacked teeth. One headline read, "It's a statement, sure, but what exactly is it saying?" On Reddit, threads exploded with thousands of comments dissecting everything from the lighting to the body language. "It's rage bait," one post read, "engineered controversy to fuel clicks and streams." And in a way, it worked. The album cover went viral before a single lyric from the album was released. Sabrina's name trended for days. Rolling Stone sold out on newsstands. And whether people loved it or hated it, everyone was talking. Still, critics questioned the long-term cost. Did Sabrina push boundaries or just push buttons? Did the visuals start a conversation or just provoke outrage? And when the message needs to be explained this many times, is it even working? Fans defended her fiercely, calling it a mirror held up to the industry. But skeptics pushed back. Satire only works when the audience gets the joke, one writer noted. Otherwise, it's just a performance that benefits from the very thing it claims to criticize. And that's where the debate lands, smack in the middle of intention versus perception. Was Sabrina Carpenter making a point or just making noise? Either way, it worked. But for those still confused about what this new era actually sounds like, there's one person who may have said it best, the producer behind it all. Amid all the noise surrounding the visuals, there's one angle that's been a bit quieter, until now, the music itself. Because while fans argued over symbolism and social commentary, Sabrina had already been in the studio crafting something bigger than just a shocking cover.
The genius of these bodysuits is that they add an intriguing aspect to her. People literally make videos on YouTube talking about the outfits that she wore, and they always start with the bedazzled bodysuit.
And according to her collaborators, this new album isn't about submission or selling out, it's about disappointment. In her Rolling Stone profile, producer Jack Antonoff, who's worked with everyone from Taylor Swift to Lana Del Rey, described the project as one of the most honest albums he's been a part of. He said the moment they finished the track Manchild, he knew they were stepping into a new era. He called the album a celebration of those who let you down. A breakup record? Yes, but also a statement on the many ways relationships, expectations, and love itself can crumble. Another co-writer, Amy Allen, added that the songs came together fast, almost effortlessly. Unlike previous projects where Sabrina agonized over every lyric, this time, things flowed. The pain was real, the sarcasm was sharper, and the result? A body of work that's likely more layered than people realize. That context changes everything. If Man's Best Friend is a concept album about feeling used, dismissed, or controlled in love, then the imagery isn't just shock value, it's a symbol, a visual metaphor for how she's been treated. The leash, the pose, the collar.
It adds a fun surprise to her tour, and it makes people more excited to see the outfit that she exclusively wore for that stop. It's very similar to her nonsense outro in a way. These viral and iconic moments could be the final string of someone contemplating to go to a Sabrina concert or not.
They're not endorsements, they're storytelling tools. But again, the risk is that without that context, the message gets misunderstood. People see a picture, they react, they judge, and only later, maybe much later, do they hear the full story. Sabrina seems to know that, and instead of explaining herself over and over, she's letting the music speak when it's ready. Because once the album drops on August 29th, all the assumptions, backlash, and think pieces will face the one thing they haven't yet heard, the truth in her own words. So, where does that leave us? Sabrina Carpenter has officially stepped out of her comfort zone and into something far more polarizing. This isn't just a rebrand, it's a risk. With one image and one carefully timed silence, she's sparked debates about feminism, fame, and how far is too far in pop. Some say she's reclaiming power, others argue she's giving it away. But maybe the real answer lies somewhere in between. Maybe Man's Best Friend isn't trying to be palatable or even likable. maybe it's supposed to make us squirm, because that's what good pop sometimes does. It unsettles before it lands.
Very much like blunt, very forward, very fun.
You look incredible. No, you look incredible.
Okay, you're right.
Hey guys, everybody show up to my next show in cowboy hats.
Okay, I got this. I got this real good.
Thank you. This is my first one I've ever had.
And for Sabrina, this new era isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about holding a mirror to how women are perceived, policed, and picked apart. Whether she's kneeling in a photo or standing tall in her lyrics, she's controlling the narrative, even when the world is busy misreading it. The real test? The music. If Manchild was any indication, this album won't just be a glossy pop ride. It'll be a statement, one filled with sarcasm, sting, and a whole lot of subtext. And when the full tracklist drops August 29th, fans and critics alike will finally get the context they've been arguing over. Until then, the question lingers. Is Sabrina Carpenter becoming the next great pop disruptor, or just another star caught in the crossfire of modern expectations? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this bold, brilliant commentary, or a branding gamble gone too far? Either way, Sabrina's got our attention, and she's not giving it back anytime soon.